Stand by for bath time.
Isn't that the best that we could do?
Oh, don't mind if I do.
I would love to go on an Anda cruise.
We'll say more about that.
This is the gift that keeps on giving.
You're an idiot.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
The Gerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson, Richard James and Chris Dale.
Pod 313 of the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Oh, don't mind if I do.
Shall we do it right
I
now?
think we
right
should,
here?
Yeah, okay then.
Yeah.
We've done it 312 times before.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
This is your opportunity, Podsterons, because that's what you are, because you're watching the podcast or listening, to celebrate all things Gerry Anderson. Name some Gerry Anderson series that people might have heard of. Chris?
Thunderbirds.
Right.
UFO.
Yes.
Captain Scarlet.
Good.
Stingray.
Excellent.
Joe 90.
Jamie, what's coming up in the podcast?
Oh, some news.
Space Precinct.
Right. All right, leave it there, Chris.
That's not coming up.
Moving on.
Some news.
Yes.
Some Podsteron stuff.
Right.
They write in and we read out what they've said.
Yes.
Sometimes in an
Yes.
Australian accent.
Oh.
Not always, though.
No.
But it's good when it happens. Your second part of your interview with Paul Shipper.
Yes. Who he?
We. He designed poster. Nice man. Culty, designery, the Blu-ray cover poster thing and stuff.
Excellent. That's right. And finally,
He will also have chosen a randomiser episode for us, and so we'll watch that random episode
Whatever
all
it may
together
be.
later on.
wow, there you go. That's it in a nutshell.
Is that everything?
That's everything. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that much, and then when we do it, it just goes on
interminable.
and on and on.
That's right. Podsterons, do you think the podcast is interminable? Do let us know in the comments beneath. Also, I should just say, you can rate and review us as well on whichever platform
Yes.
you're listening to us on, or on the YouTube channel, of course.
Yeah.
You can leave a comment underneath, can't you?
Yeah,
But
thumbs
don't
up.
forget also to subscribe,
Yes.
because that means you will never miss an episode. Who wants to do
You
that?
can leave us reviews on Audible and IMDb
Yeah.
and Amazon, I think.
Probably Spotify.
Yeah, amazing. Good. All to come, but for now, I'm really excited to hear the Gerry Anderson news.
Oh, so am I.
Right.
News.
Oh, whoa.
Sorry, quick.
Got
There you
a
are.
little shot of adrenaline there.
Very tense over that side.
Yes, so the news about Gerry Anderson. I'm going to start with something non-Gerry Anderson. How's that?
What's going on? This is about the tractor that you broke yesterday.
No, I've just received news that my tractor is fixed.
Oh, that's a relief.
And that's the end of this week's Tractor News.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, in case you were worried, Podsterons, I ran the tractor out of diesel, and that is a bit of a nightmare for bleeding the air out of it and restarting it. Anyway, that's not the news, because that is...
Did you put the rotor arm back? The rotor arms are very important.
I don't know. No, there's no rotor arm in there. Anyway,
Yes.
no, this is about Space Patrol.
Oh, yeah.
So Space Patrol, although not Anderson, it is very much Anderson adjacent, with the Galasphere and all that sort of stuff. Thank you, Chris. We might have to pay MCPS if you do that. So,
Oh, yes.
yeah, be careful.
Obviously very close to the original. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Space Patrol, created by Roberta Lee and Arthur Provis,
Yep.
after Arthur left AP Films in 1960, 59, 60.
Yeah, something like that.
And was a kind of rival to Fireball XL5 in its own way.
Yeah, I suppose.
Kind of.
Contemporaries.
Yeah.
They both went to the same school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it's Super Mario Nation adjacent, it's Fireball adjacent, it's
Yeah.
Anderson adjacent, hence why we can talk about it now. So
Sort
after
of
the
link detached.
yes, that it's
Yeah.
peripheral
Yeah.
Anderson
Just
thing.
adjacent, I like that.
So after the sad demise of Network, we did a deal with Roberta Lee's son, and he and I both thought it would be funny because his mum and dad obviously would have probably hated the fact that there was any collaboration, but we like to let bygones be bygones. And now Space Patrol, as well as being available on ITVX, is now available very shortly on Talking Pictures. The first 12 episodes are coming out on the 15th of June. Is that right, Chris?
The first episode will be on the 15th of June.
Yes, yes.
And then presumably the following week there will be another one.
Correct,
Yes.
over 12 weeks, I
12
guess.
weeks.
And on Talking Pictures catch-up service Encore.
Yes.
So that's quite exciting, isn't it? And it's a quirky, very 1960s
Yeah.
sci-fi puppet show.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's unfair to say probably not as popular as Fireball XL5
No,
or
but
Supercar.
fondly remembered by people who assume that it's from the same Anderson stable. Yeah. I don't know when the last time it would have been repeated on British television would have been, but
I I think
while.
1974.
Oh, I'm going to trust you on that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a long time since it's been on broadcast telly, and now it's back.
Yay!
In fact, 50 years
Yeah.
since it was last broadcast.
That's right.
I think
Wow.
it's back. If I'm wrong, please correct me, Podsterons podcast at gerryanderson.com. Subject line, you're an idiot.
Yobba rays on.
we get a lot of
as they
those.
say.
Yes, you're always on.
Yobba rays on.
So that's the non-Gerry Anderson news.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The Gerry Anderson
Right, which is really what we're here.
Gerry
Yes.
Anderson news
Clues in the title.
absolutely is about our next upcoming collectible.
Yep.
A nice collectible range. We've started with the Eagle Transporter and
Yes.
then the Rescue Eagle.
Yes.
The VIP Eagle is on the way. So, Chris,
Ooh.
tell me about the VIP Eagle, just as in where it appeared and why it appeared.
The VIP Eagle, VIP Eagle, is only seen in the first episode of the show. It's the one that brings Commissioner Simmons to Alpha, and then Alan Carter takes it up to monitor things shortly before the moon gets blown out of orbit. That's one where the pod has got a sort of lovely orange side to it.
I was going to say, and Chris obviously knew this was coming because he is today cosplaying
Yes.
as a VIP Eagle.
So this colour, this pod, whoosh,
Yeah,
that's
nice.
what you need to think.
There you
yes.
go. So that'll be available later this month for pre-order. You can see some preview bits and pieces coming up over the next few weeks. Also, we will very soon be seeing some surprises in the world of Stingray Deadly Uprising.
Oh,
I
really?
can't tell you any more at this stage.
This is the gift that keeps on giving,
Surprises.
Stingray, this year, isn't it?
Yes, it's the story that
Wow.
won't stop talking.
Yes.
Yes.
So yes, there will be some extra bits and pieces that have not yet been announced that will be released in the coming weeks and months,
Right, yes.
and give you yet another way to enjoy the Deadly Uprising
Yes.
saga. So stand by for action.
Quite a minute way, let's say. But,
Minute is probably
yes.
a
but
word.
still very fulfilling.
Are you
Yeah.
producing a range of Stingray bath bombs?
No, but there's an idea. We'll
Yes.
get the team on to that
Literal
immediately.
bombs.
You can have that one.
Yeah, nice.
free.
Stand by for bath time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
There you go. So there's 3 little bits of Gerry Anderson news,
Yeah.
but that is the end of this week's Gerry Anderson news.
That was the news. Mostly Anderson-y, but kind of also Roberta Lee-ish news.
Yeah. I don't
Nice.
build up your part too
Oh,
much.
well, all right, then that's what you did.
Give them an inch, it'll take a mile. I love the Gerry Anderson news.
Do you?
Yes, because it's very forward-looking, isn't it? You know, you could say the sort of raison d'etre of the podcast is to look back at all the shows that we used to enjoy,
No, it's
but,
very much past, present, and future, I'd say.
isn't it? Yes, exactly. Just think, we are the future of Gerry Anderson.
Is that the
Yeah,
best that we could do?
We are the future of the world.
Yeah.
dear.
Anyway, you might recall last week I sat down and interviewed Paul Shipper,
You did,
poster
yes.
artist, world-renowned designer and poster artist, about his career thus far and his favourite projects and so on. We had some lovely questions from our Podsterons. We have more this week as I sit down for the second part of my interview with Paul Shipper. Paul Shipper, welcome back.
Thank you. It's
You
good
liked
to
it
be
so
back.
much you couldn't keep away.
No, I had to come back again.
Have you been here all week, or have you had time to go home?
Yeah, I
and-
stayed in the hotel over the road.
Now, we'll be doing much more of the same this week, looking at some of your fantastic poster art, talking about your Gerry Anderson memories, of course, and even a musical memory, which you touched on last week. We'll be having a look at some Gerry Anderson music being performed, and let's see if you dance around the studio like you used to dance around your living room.
I don't know about that.
Now, you did pretty well last week on super identification. 6 is not a bad score at all, so you can be proud of that.
Thank you.
But before we go any further, we're just going to have a look at one of your favourite Anderson moments. So let's have a look at this and we'll explain further afterwards.
Okay.
Those international rescue guys tried, but it was impossible. They died helping others. Reckon they're the bravest men I've ever met. Wait! Look over there! Hello? Can you hear me? Are you okay?
All present and correct. We made it just in time.
What an organization. No one knows where they come from, but Thank heavens they come. Yes, sir.
There we go. A quick clip from, I think it's City of Fire, a Thunderbirds episode there, the finale, because in our email exchange, I asked you to come up with some favourite Anderson moments and memories, and you just came up with a general thought, really, about heroic characters.
Yes.
And they were the ones that you kind of hooked on as a kid.
Yeah.
Can you explore that a bit more? What was it about?
Yeah, I
that in
mean, I
particular?
think it was just like doing good for people and like doing the right thing always.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, I've always tried to live by that. And I think influence from entertainment and things like that. And it was always the heroic characters that I connected with the most.
Yeah.
And, you know, just the good guys overthrowing the bad guys a lot of the time. And like in that clip, you know, they're saving people's lives.
Yeah.
It's just it's not a bad thing, is it?
It's not a bad thing at all.
It's a good thing.
That's true. There's no sort of moral ambiguity with the heroes in Gerry Anderson.
No, that's
particularly those
right.
older shows. Maybe later, in the likes of UFO and Space 1999, things took a darker turn.
Right.
But in those early days, I mean, these are programs that you'd sit down and you'd with your kids because you think it might teach them something.
Yeah,
you know.
there's morals involved and
that's right.
the way to deal with situations and the right things to do.
Yeah.
And I always clung on to that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your career, really, how you found yourself in the industry that you work in, and also to offer any advice to anyone else who might consider a similar path.
Sure.
So you've spoken before about being a young boy and being transfixed by the posters of your favourite films.
Yeah.
But most people would go and see a film and it might inspire them to be an actor or a set designer or a musician, a composer for film or whatever it might be. But there was something specific about the posters that grabbed you.
Yeah. And it's hard to actually put your finger on it and say it was that.
Yeah.
Because I think my connection with drawing, I was always drawing anyway.
Yeah.
And when I realized that these posters, you know, it was like it was art to me rather than advertising. And I remember going on school trips or even at art college, we'd go to you know, art galleries, and they'd be like, you know, have a look around, enjoy, and and not very rarely would any of it connect with me.
Yeah,
it was kind of minimalism and didn't really feel it didn't get me where you thought it might get you, you know, and so it was for me the movie posters are the kind of the greatest art at the time for me.
They did get you.
Because it was emotion. There was emotion to it. Whereas a lot of the work, and the sad part is with the modern art kind of things that we were trying to be shown was that a lot of it you had to have an essay with it, so you could explain what it was.
Right.
And if you didn't understand it, then you weren't clever enough.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Whereas a movie poster, it's designed in a way that it works in milliseconds.
Yeah.
Across probably every nation that might see it, they'd be able to look at it and understand it. So it's that kind of that visual communication across that kind of crossed barriers and I think that's what kind of got me.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing I was really interested in was music.
Okay, yeah.
And so, and I was better at art than music, so.
Right.
But I did want to do film music, you know, film composing.
Right.
So I loved like playing the keyboard, and I was a big fan of the music from TV shows and movies.
So was cinema going a big thing for you as a kid?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Massive.
So you were there every Friday night or at weekends?
Well, I mean, when there was a lot of movies coming out every week,
absolutely,
then so you'd go there with your friends a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the earliest cinema experiences I have was a friend at a primary school. His mum worked at a cinema in Manchester, and it was his birthday, and so we all got on the bus and went, and we could basically we had the whole cinema to ourselves, and we could pick 3 movies.
Huh.
Yeah, so it was Return of the Jedi.
Nice, wow.
Superman 3, and the James Bond movie at the time, which was Octopussy.
Right, yeah. It's not a bad afternoon.
I know. I mean, it's like so. I mean, yeah, movies have been. I feel like there's always elements of truth in movies as well, which is really nice. There's a lot of you can learn from watching things. I mean, a lot of stuff from Gerry Anderson stuff. You learn while you're watching it, and it gives you a perspective on the place we live.
Yeah.
It's all that kind of stuff combined. I mean, entertainment was TV and film was big for me growing up.
So, I think you mentioned last week that even at that young age, you kind of decided that's sort of what you would love to do in an ideal world.
I did, yeah. I became a little bit obsessed with movie posters to the point where it was when I had them on my bedroom wall, and I didn't really think that much of it until I realized that they were art.
Yeah.
Because I saw people's signatures. After studying them for a while, you start to see things. And so once I realized that this was created by someone, I was like, this must be a job.
Yeah.
And, because people's like, what are you going to do when you grow up?
Yeah.
And so it was always something you think about. Like, what am I going to do when I grow up? I like doing art, but, no one can do that for a job.
Can they?
Can they? And so it was one of those moments like,
right.
It is a thing.
Okay.
And maybe I can do that.
So you now had a dream to pursue.
Yes.
So how did you then pursue that dream?
Well, first of
How
all,
did it happen?
It's like through school. I focused a lot on the art side of things, and then went on to art college. And so you're just constantly refining and getting better, and learning things about how things work. Then on to university, I did illustration and animation at Manchester Metropolitan University.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, they don't teach you how to be an illustrator, really. They try and teach you how briefs work, so you get given a brief, that kind of part of it. But when you actually go into the real world, all we were really told was that you send off your work to design agencies,
right?
And they'll look at it and they'll tell you if they want you on file or not. Okay. And usually, I sent loads out, and I got lots of rejection letters saying, "Thanks so much. We're not looking at getting anyone at the moment, but we'll keep you on file."
Yeah,
and it was like every letter was the same. And I was like, "Well, how does it work?" There was no way of really knowing how it was. This was before the internet really kicked off, so the internet really helped, I think. One of the things, because I was a big Indiana Jones fan, and on the internet there was a place where Indiana Jones fans would connect.
Okay.
And so, and I'd done a lot of Indiana Jones art through school, and because those posters were some of the ones that really spoke to me. And so, this website existed, and people were sending in art. And I'm like, I was a bit nervous because, you've shown your parents, you've shown your friends. Yeah. But if you put it out there, it could be
showing
disastrous.
The world. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I plucked up the courage and I thought, I'm going to send some in. And they put them online, and just the comments were really nice. People were very positive about the work, and they liked it as much as I liked doing it, and things like that. And so I got to know the people behind the website a little bit, and we've remained friends since. Yeah. And, we'd worked on some Indiana Jones projects together just for fun, This is 2001.
Yeah.
And then, things, I ended up working for my dad because he needed photography and design work for his work. So I ended up being there for 10 years. But during that 10 years, I would work in the evenings doing illustration.
Yeah.
So it's very hard. I'll be honest. It is hard back then even, it was hard to get any work. So you really had to have something that, obviously I was paying bills by this point.
Yeah.
You have to have something that you can live,
Yeah, of course.
by
Another
earning
string to
some
your bow.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was very focused on my job, but also heavily focused on this dream. So I've been an illustrator.
Yeah, I mean, you must have been laser focused because surely I would think your experience through art school and then through university, you could have taken you on many different paths.
It could have.
The
Yeah,
arts
no,
world.
I mean, even at university, they were trying to sway me away
Right.
from the movie side of things. Oh no, you don't want to do that.
You want to do
be
package
doing
design or
No, I
advertising.
mean more fine art
Oh,
side
right, yeah,
actually,
okay.
which was surprised me because I thought that it was going to be more about advertising and things, but it was more like, anyway, it was something different.
Interesting.
But my tutors were trying to sway me away from what I was doing, but then we had a lecturer who we had to learn some English literature lessons, and he set a brief for us, which was read this book, cast the movie, design the movie poster.
Nice.
I'm like, this one is for me. So that was probably the most fun I had on a project at university, really.
So there wasn't a sense, why would there be, but was there a sense that what you wanted to do was kind of looked down upon in any way?
I was kind of like, I felt like there weren't many people that were, because at this point in the world, movie posters had gone very photographic and they've moved away from illustration.
Yeah.
And so I suppose a lot of people were looking at my love of it going, why?
There's no work there.
Yeah, why are you even doing
Yeah.
that? So I felt like a lone wolf.
Yeah.
But I just could not let it go. It was it was very powerful.
Yeah.
And so I never stopped. And nowadays, everybody wants to be a movie poster artist. So
So was there a moment where where it clicked and you thought, I'm doing it, this is happening and I'm doing it? Or has it been a gradual process?
It has been gradual. I think, I worked it out as like about 5 to 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah, right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on. And the trick is, if there is ever a trick, the trick is don't give up.
Uh-huh.
That's the trick.
Okay.
Because if you feel it strongly enough, you won't give up.
Yeah.
But if you do, you're never going to make it.
Yeah.
If it gets, there's been hard times.
Yeah.
And there's times when I was like, you know what, maybe it's not right. But then I couldn't let it go. So that's my advice to anyone. And that's in any field of anything.
Yeah.
If you have a passion for something and you feel, you really have to feel it here, like it's like it completes you in some way. When you feel that, I'd done a lot of different things up to that point, always had it in the background. And then all those things were fun. But when I illustrated something like a TV show or a movie, it was when I was working on something for Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-hmm.
It was a real painting,
Mm-hmm.
and it was for a CD cover. Because I'd been doing wedding photography, web design,
paying the bills,
doing anything really, and keeping it creative.
Yeah.
But when I did that, the sense of achievement after I'd done it, even though it's not the best thing I've ever done, but it was this moment that kind of like hit me. It's like, I'm just supposed to do this.
Yeah.
So I quickly stopped everything else. And when I did that and I focused solely on illustration, doors started opening.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think when you're ready, you'll know you're ready.
Yeah.
And you just go for it.
We've got some more examples of viewers and listeners' questions, of course, in our Space 1999 tin. So let's just rustle these up a little bit. Oh, yeah, that's quite a few more there. 3 more. So if you take all of those,
Okay.
stretch over.
Stretching over. I think I got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. What have we got today? Jonathan Westall.
Ah, yes.
Hi, Paul. Out of all the poster artwork you've done, which is your personal favourite and why?
Oh, I bet you get asked that a lot, don't you?
That is one of those questions.
Yeah, it's like
isn't
picking a favourite child.
Yes. It's hard to pick, Jonathan. It really is. But I'll tell you, we're talking about Indiana Jones, and one of the dreams I always had, because I got to work on Star Wars, that was a dream. I got to work on a Spielberg movie, that was a dream come true. The one that I hadn't completed by this point was Indiana Jones, And every time I had the meeting at Disney, we want you to do Indiana Jones when it comes, when it happens.
Yes,
I was like, yes, that'd be wonderful. But unfortunately, what happened was I was asked to do something, so I got to work on some designs, which was a wonderful experience. But they didn't pick mine, but they picked a friend of mine's work, Tony Stella, who did a lovely job.
Now, I was going to say, is working on it enough? Did it matter that they didn't pick it because you had that experience of...
Well...
Or is it being chosen? Is that part of the...
Getting the final... Yeah, it's a different thing. Getting to work on it is great because you're being asked to, they want you to do something for it. And there's been many, I worked on artwork for Dune, the first part that came out, and they didn't use my artwork for that.
Right.
Mary Poppins Returns, I did stuff for that, I didn't use that. There's been lots of projects where they've not use your artwork.
Yeah. Is that almost expected in a way? Is that just part and parcel of the business that you work in?
It can be, yeah. I mean, you do hope that the work's going to be accepted by everybody and everyone's going to go, yeah, this is the poster. Yeah. But it just doesn't always happen. Yeah. And that's just part of the job. Yeah. But yeah, getting to work on Indy, I felt, when I was working, I felt like this is going to be the poster. I was feeling it. But, unfortunately, it didn't work out that time. Yeah. But it's still a dream. Yeah. So that would be, even though it didn't get released, Jonathan, that was probably one of my favorites.
Nice. Another question there?
Another question. John Reeder. Hi, Paul. Love the artwork on your website. Lovely covers and posters. Have you ever been approached to do artwork for a comic strip or graphic novel? Is it something you would like to do? Thanks. Mm-hmm. Yes, well, comics-wise and graphic novel-wise, I've done a lot of cover art for them over the years, including things like Star Trek, 24, G.I. Joe, things like that. And I have done one comic book, it wasn't a big release though. It was a musician, a DJ in LA. He had his character that he was. Yeah. And so he had this origin story and he wanted it in a graphic novel.
Great.
And he wanted every page to look like a movie poster.
Wow.
So it was like, I'll try.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of work.
Yes, that's right.
So I did, what do you call it? Not episode 1. The first book in the series. I illustrated it. Yeah. And it came out great, actually. Yeah. It was fun, but it's one of those things. It's not for everyone. Just because you can draw doesn't mean you're going to be great at doing that as well.
Right.
And I think I did an okay job.
Okay.
But it's like animation. I love animation. Yeah. But the amount of patience you need for that, and I'm quite patient. But that when I did animation at university, and this was like hand drawn animation, so you're like filming every page.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you miss a few pages, like no. But I think I would say I'm always up for anything really. But as far as like there are people who do so much better at it than me,
right? Okay.
And I like seeing their work. Like Jock, who he does a lot of Batman. I love his work. Yeah. And people like that are just born to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And a final one there, I think. Yeah.
Yes, Steve Bushell.
Oh, yes, with 3 E's.
Well, 3 E's, yeah. So Steve.
That's it. You got it.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Paul. What a truly iconic portfolio you have created. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. So the big question, digital painting or traditional art techniques?
There you go. We touched on that a bit last week.
We did. Which is quicker and which aspects of both frustrated you? Thanks for keeping the art real.
Yeah.
Smiley face, Steve.
There you go.
Well, we have talked a little bit about that already. But when it comes to anything that frustrates you, I mean, the thing with digital is you're reliant on a computer.
Yeah.
And they can be temperamental.
They can,
if they want to be.
Yeah.
So there's been times when or a power cut or something, and you're like, boom, and you're like,
yeah. Or you didn't save.
Or you didn't save it. Things like that have happened, and you've lost everything, and you have to start again.
Yeah.
One time, hard drive completely fried, and everything was. They recovered certain bits actually,
Wow.
but not the important bits.
So
But,
do you save stuff to the cloud or another drive, or what?
I've got a RAID
yeah.
array, which is very. If you're interested, it's very clever. It's across like 4 or 5 bays. So if one hard drive fails, you don't lose anything. You just put a new one in, and it propagates the information. So if you're worried about losing information, I recommend that. And as far as traditional work, frustration wise, you don't. It's harder to undo things, I suppose. It's a bit more time consuming in that regard.
Yeah.
But the overall time that it takes to do something digitally and traditionally is quite similar.
I was going to say, I wondered which one was quicker. I would automatically assume that working digitally would mean you could work faster, but
Yeah, a lot of people think that, but it's not always the case. I mean, I think changes are a lot quicker.
yeah,
But when it comes to the creation, the layout, even if I was working traditionally, the layout I would probably do it digitally anyway, just because it's easier to move things around.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you take that and then you illustrate it from that. But
now how long would, let's say, we looked at a Picard poster last week?
yes.
How long would that take, for example?
Well,
Are we talking days or weeks or
well,
hours?
sometimes if a client has an idea concept already done
Yeah.
and they just want me to illustrate it,
Yeah.
I can drop everything else for a day.
I see.
If they we got a meeting tomorrow with the director and we'd really like to see this illustrated,
Yeah.
then I've done that many times
Yeah.
where it's like you have a day, so you're like up
Yeah.
in the morning, you're working on it
Clear
till
your schedule.
midnight.
Yeah.
You have to just nail it, like get it right the first time.
Right.
No messing about.
Yeah.
But when it comes to working on a project, it's usually a 4-week turnaround. I usually say to clients, that gives time for the creation of it, the rough ideas, the concept stage. The clients can then come back to you with feedback.
Yeah.
You have this little bit of time.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're waiting for feedback, it can take days.
Yeah.
So you need to be patient with that, and you need to have a bit of time.
Yeah.
Usually when everything's nailed down, I have maybe a week left to illustrate.
Okay.
And it's usually done before the week's out. And it depends. Sometimes I'm juggling 5-6 projects.
Of course, yes.
So
that's
it's
right.
like you have to kind of like, while you're waiting for the feedback on
Yeah.
one, you're on to the next one.
Yeah, amazing.
You're not sitting back going, oh,
Of course you're
well,
not.
I'll
No.
just rest now.
That's right. Do you find it difficult to say no? That's the,
Yes.
being a freelancer is the most difficult
It
word,
is,
isn't it?
because you never know when the next one's
Absolutely.
coming. It's a bit like being an actor.
Yeah.
You don't know when the next gig's around
Yeah.
the corner.
Yeah.
So it is hard to say no.
Yeah.
There are projects that come along where you just know you haven't got time for, and you'd like to do it but you can't.
That must be tricky because you don't want to burn any bridges, do you?
Yeah, that's
But-
right. It is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. So you do try your best to try and fit a lot of things in.
And before we take a look at some more examples of your work, how would you best explain a piece of Paul Shipper art? What do you think people would recognise from your work or look for in your work, or what do you see in your work?
Right. Well, I would say my artwork it's got a foot in the past
Yeah,
and
right.
a foot in the present.
Uh-huh.
And hopefully, a few fingers in the future.
Yeah.
But it has a certain nostalgic appeal.
Yeah, I would agree.
Which is what I really like.
Yeah.
But it also talks to the modern audience today, which
Yeah.
is I'm glad about.
Yeah.
So it has a modern feel at the same time as being nostalgic,
Yeah.
which I suppose I would explain it like that. And a few people have said that to me.
Yeah.
And I've thought it, and then I've heard them say it. So I'd say it would be modern nostalgic.
Modern nostalgic, like it. I mean, I have to say that the stuff I've seen on your website and so on makes me want to watch those films again.
Oh,
so I mean, I guess that's job
a
done,
really
isn't it?
good compliment. Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
really
really
does.
nice. Thank you.
So let's take a look at some more examples of your work up here on the screen. So there we are, Gandalf from
Yes.
Lord of the Rings.
It is.
Now, was this illustrated from a reference photograph, or
Yes,
the
yeah, I mean-
stance and the?
Yeah, it was. I work from reference. It doesn't all come from my mind.
Yes, yeah.
Reference is really important, especially when you're dealing with actors and likenesses and things.
Yes. And the face is almost photorealistic.
Yeah, I mean, I think I try and make it like as close to the original as possible.
Yeah.
With a flair of, a flair of the illustration.
Yeah.
Thrown in. So this was part of a set of, I think, 6 covers, and it was the first illustrated covers that Empire had ever put on the newsstand before.
Right.
Usually they would do some illustrated covers for their subscriber issues.
Yeah.
And so this was the first time they'd ever done this.
Right.
So I'm proudly the first person to have illustrated the newsstand
Amazing.
issues.
And did you get a sense of how successful they were and how
Yeah, it
popular
was
they were?
really successful.
Yeah.
They were really happy, so much that they made me a visual contributor and editor of the magazine,
Brilliant.
which is a very lovely honour.
Because I should imagine you were reading Empire.
Yes,
Many years ago.
from the very first time it came out
Yeah.
in 1989.
Right, there you
So
go.
like when getting to work with them has been a dream come true.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have to pinch myself. The amount of things that I've got to work on there
Yeah.
just from growing up loving these things.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm feeling very blessed.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the next one. There we go. I mean,
Yes.
you can't get a more iconic series, really.
No, Star Wars is definitely up there with,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to the illustrated posters as well. So to have any part in that franchise was honestly like a great honor for me.
Because you're kind of dealing with a whole mythology here, aren't you? That's what you're, I guess, trying to put into the poster. You're trying, obviously, it has to be a kind of a recognizable image. We've got to know that it's set in the Star Wars universe, really,
Yeah.
before we even see the title, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
It's got to draw
I mean,
the eye, isn't it?
Like, well, the I can't take full credit for this, and I never do. There are some artists that may like say not tell you where it came from,
Yeah.
but the design agency behind this, they're a wonderful group of people, and I've worked with them many times now.
Yeah.
And so the only change that happened with this one was the addition of Leia, because she wasn't in it originally.
Okay, yeah.
But so I added that, and
Yeah.
and then just kind of made it work as an illustration.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of working. Because it's very unusual, this design. It's very, it's a different thing. It's kind of a brave move.
Right.
So when they showed me what they were looking at, I was like, wow, this is very unexpected.
Right.
So my job really is to make it work
Yeah.
as an illustration. So it kind of feels like everything is one.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly how it feels.
Because a lot of the times they just look very like on top of each other,
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is very different. I mean, it was iconic actually.
Yeah.
Now a lot of people recognize it as the IMAX poster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
but yeah, different, definitely. It's definitely the design of it has a certain nostalgia to the original sort of Star Wars marketing with the rounded corners and things like that.
Yes, that's right.
It's got a bit of a
Exactly.
retro feel to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, for sure. Nice. So here's one that people may well recognise. Thunderbirds Are Go, the CGI series.
Yes. Yes. No, this was quite a treat for me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this existed until ITV contacted
Right.
me. I didn't know there was an anime. Like I didn't know about Captain Scarlet.
That's it, the new
I
Captain
didn't know.
Scarlet.
Like,
There you go.
why don't I know these things? So I didn't know about this show, and then when they asked me this was by season 3, I think. And they really wanted like an illustrated kind of movie poster style
Yeah.
for this. And so this is actually the quad version. There is a vertical one
Gotcha.
sheet style as well.
Yeah.
So this had to exist in layers so
I
that we
see.
can move things around.
Yes. Yes.
And making both layouts work.
Yeah.
That's one of the key things that they wanted. But yeah, it was a great show. I got to watch this whole thing with my son as well. He was
perfect.
very young at the time,
Yeah.
and he really got into Thunderbirds. We bought all the toys,
Yeah.
and Tracy Island, and
Great.
we'd video like. You'd make little videos and going through the
Brilliant.
sky and things. It was
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. We know that watching this version of Thunderbirds has absolutely opened the door to people then watching the
It
classic
did.
Thunderbirds, which
I
is
tell
great.
You, yeah,
you know?
and then what happened was after watching that, I said, "This is where it came from."
Yeah.
And we watched the older episodes,
Yeah,
and there was something about those that he loved even more than that.
yeah, right.
So he was
Yeah,
like, "This
interesting.
is so much better." And
There you go.
So nothing to put that down.
No.
But it was like I think it was the practical effects of it
Absolutely.
that just kind of felt more like tangible.
Yeah. Real
Where-
stuff actually being blown up.
Yes, yeah, it
Mainly.
was. Yeah,
That's right. Great.
Yeah.
Now, before we say goodbye, I've got a little treat for you. So we spoke last week about your love of Jeff Love and his sort of orchestral imaginings of TV and film themes.
Yeah.
This isn't Jeff Love, but this is actually a clip from last year's Stand By for Action concert. And this is the theme to UFOs. So this is
yes.
just for you, Paul.
I do like this.
It's got a groove, isn't it?
Definitely. She's a mean drummer, that lady.
Yeah. Love all the costumes.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I can't wait for the concert.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go. A little something there for you, Paul.
amazing.
And a little something to look forward to for Stand By for Action 2, of course.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward
yeah,
to that
brilliant.
very much.
Well, thanks for joining us again. Before you go, where can we find you? We mentioned it last week, but give yourself another plug, your websites and your socials.
My website is paulshipperstudio.com, and my social media is @paulshipper, and Facebook is @paulshipperstudio.
Great. Fantastic. A delight to meet you. Thanks so much for
thanks
coming
for
all this way
having me.
to see us. And I'll see you in Birmingham.
Yes,
Brilliant.
see you there.
Cheers, Paul.
Thank you.
Paul Shipper, thank you so much for joining us, Paul. How wonderful to have him along.
Yeah.
Nice. You know, we have people who work behind the scenes on the shows, we have some actors on the shows, voice artists and so on. Always good to get a bit more niche.
Yeah.
Niece. And have my niece on the show.
Okay.
Next time.
Looking forward
I'll
to
be
that.
interviewing my niece about
Lovely.
Gerry Anderson. No. Who do we have next week, Chris?
Mr. James Swallow.
James
Author.
Swallow, Yes.
Screenwriter.
Yes.
Yes.
What an illustrious career he's had.
He has, yes.
New
for-
York Times
New
best-selling
York Times
author.
best-selling author James Swallow,
Yeah.
who has worked in lots of television and film franchises, including the likes of Doctor Who and Blake's Seventh Big Finish,
Amazing.
Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek, 24, Warhammer stuff, his own line of novels and such. He's a
Wow.
very busy
Yeah,
boy.
Nomad and all that. He is prolific.
He
Wow.
is.
And he's
Yes.
very nice. And
Yes.
he has been on the podcast before. It was in audio format.
Oh, and he wasn't put off. He's coming back.
I know.
Nice.
Nice.
Great. Well, obviously we'll have a lot to talk about with James
Well,
next time.
yes.
Excellent.
Indeed.
But for now, talking about people who have a lot to talk about,
Yeah.
shall we hear from our Podsterons?
Ah,
Here they
nice. Did that.
This is the voice of the Podsterons.
Yes, it's the part of the show that I like to call the voice of the Podsterons because we're very much giving the Podsterons, i.e. the listeners and viewers, a voice.
Yeah.
if you
Hence,
will.
the graphic that we have prepared
Voice
for
of
it.
the
Yes.
Podsterons.
Yes,
So we are
indeed.
very much listening and heeding the comments.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so
I
on.
think we get it now. Should we just move on?
Do you want me to explain how things
No, please just read the words.
All right, okay. Well, do you want to go first?
Yes,
Go on
yes, all right. Right. Oh. Well, this is from Penquilla.
Oh, yes, we know Penn.
Dear Jamie, Richard and Chris.
That's the three of us, yeah.
Yeah. The reason I'm writing is because you asked. Oh, sorry. Because you asked what other audio dramas we would like.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This fits in capitals. Please! Can you finish republishing the Jennison and Thaden Thunderbird novels in print and audio format?
Yes.
You stopped at number 3, Operation Asteroid.
Yes.
We still have Lost Worlds, Ring of Fire, and
Right.
the Lady Penelope Albanian Affair to go. Hoping we might see these in Thunderbird's 60th anniversary year, if not sooner, FAB Penquilla. P.S. I would love to go on an Anda cruise.
Right.
What could possibly go wrong?
One ticket
There's our
sold.
first
Great.
recruit, yep.
That's the
She
first ticket.
didn't say she'd buy a ticket, she just loved to go.
I bet Penn would upgrade to a VIP cabin where she gets served by a member of the Gerry Anderson podcast team breakfast every
Dressed as
morning.
Parker.
Yeah.
Well, we have to work. We have to wait on them.
Oh,
I thought the idea was they wait on us. Oh, I've been missold this.
I think the Undercruise might actually happen. I think this might be a thing that people might be interested
We'll rent a tugboat from somewhere.
Yeah,
and just kind of
I'm just
cruise around for a bit.
Just preparing the
A
ground.
canal boat with us, 2 Podsterons. Brilliant. In answer to your question, Pen, yes, this has been raised externally and internally.
What question? The
About continuing the
episode
republishing of the
yeah.
books.
I see.
So, the books most of them have been republished before, multiple times. So, they are a difficult sell, I would say.
Okay.
As much as we love doing them.
Yeah.
I think we've noticed a bit of a desire for new stories rather than republishing old, and that's kind of where we're headed. I'm definitely not saying no, but I'm saying it's challenging when we have a lot of other new stuff coming through, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort.
Yeah.
So maybe,
Okay.
but right now that series is on ice, I'm afraid.
When is the 60th anniversary of Thunderbirds then?
What? You know that?
Our listener, the casual viewer who's just dropped in, might not know.
It's the 30th of September 2025.
And there are big plans for the 60th anniversary.
Of course there are. We haven't talked about them yet.
Yeah.
We won't be for some time, but they.
Just-
Chris and I were discussing them over breakfast this morning.
We were indeed.
Brilliant. What did you have for breakfast?
I had coffee and orange juice. Chris had
Oh,
a lovely fry-up,
yes.
and atop the fry-up was a croissant.
What? A
I know.
croissant on a fry? Podsterons, have you ever heard the like? Would you settle down to a breakfast, a full English
I'm
fry?
having my breakfast, and
With
it's
a
just.
croissant.
But now I'm facing public scrutiny.
Absolutely.
That's-
Let us know. Podcast at gerryanderson.com. Would you have eaten Chris's breakfast? Subject, Chris's brekkie.
Yeah, that's the sort of meal you can expect on the Undercruise.
Yes, indeed.
Fair enough.
And a mug full of orange juice because there weren't any glasses left.
That is also true. I mean, this is a great level of detail. I think we should move on.
Yes.
Chris, there's a short one there for
A
you.
short one, yes. Evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
That's the first episode of The Protectors I've ever seen. A kind of Wild Justice, Pod 307, starring Napoleon Solo and Irene Forsyth. So of course it was good. Jane Ann Liston, St Andrews.
Oh, thanks, Jane Ann Liston from St Andrews.
That first line. That's the first episode of The Protectors I've ever seen. It reminded me of The Simpsons. That's the best episode of Impy and Chimpy I've ever seen.
Okay.
And someone out there will get that reference, these two clips.
Excellent.
Yeah,
No,
no,
sorry.
we're
It's
idiots.
a bit like the Mornington Crescent reference.
Oh, well, that was just...
That went over my head last time.
Oh, yes.
Poor boys.
Yeah.
So uncultured.
We're ready to be educated. Isn't St Andrews where Jamie Anderson plays?
That's it. That's right. That's where we're going to meet prior to the Anticruise.
So Jane Ann Liston, if you'd like to go and do a selfie in Jamie Anderson Place with some signage and send it in.
How far is St Andrews from the sea?
Well, it's right on the coast, isn't it?
Oh,
they-
that's all right then.
that's where we'll be leaving, I think. We start
Okay.
St Andrews.
Okay, let's see.
Just seeding the idea.
Let's
But
move on.
What I love is that many people watching the podcast, it's very often their first experience seeing these shows in the Randomiser.
That's why we do it.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Over on YouTube, Scofair has said Kind of Wild Justice and The Insider Series 2 are among my favourite episodes.
You've
of
seen The
Protectors.
Insider, haven't you? Yes.
Vaughan and the female lead shone in this particular episode that we saw in Pod 307. The action and acting is superb, and it showed the murkier side of London's early 70s underworld. It did, especially when Rule introduces Kate to her late father's associates. The nightclub scene when Rule is asked to leave seems the defining moment as Kate realises not all of her father's friends were angels. So real. Both seasons had their moments. Vaughan's direction on the Somewhere on the Island episode took things into a more surreal 60s Batman-esque slapstick genre.
Yes.
Didn't it, Chris?
It did, yes.
Yeah.
And we'll say no more about that.
Yes. But he says, or she, Scofair says, making an action-adventure series shows Gerry's adaptability, versatility, and widened the scope for the team's Anderson universe. It's true, isn't it? It does push the envelope a bit in terms of the Anderverse, doesn't
Yes.
it? It is part of it.
Well,
So why are we not talking about, rebooting the Protectors? And,
I think we could, yeah.
Audio
I think
adventures
there's
for Big Finish and
I would
comic
say
book
no to doing a
adaptation.
Protector's novel.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no one's asking the question for you to say no to, Chris.
Yeah.
So,
Tumbleweed moment there, I think.
But I think also what helps with Protectors is that the format is so loose that it can be anything. So one week it can be slapstick, the next week it can be hard crime drama and so on. It covers a wide remit.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for your thought.
We could have an evening dedicated to the potatoes. Could be on the Andertons.
Yes.
I think that's the way it's going to go. It's
Yeah,
every
you
night.
can see me along.
It's going to be a
That's
different
the
theme.
night I throw myself overboard.
Oh, all right then. We'll
Just
leave that
because we
early on
asked
then.
you to watch all 52 episodes back to back. Come on.
All for now, Podsterons, but you know the drill. Send in your emails to podcast@gerryanderson.com and we'll probably read them out because that's what we like to do.
Yeah.
Can't stop us.
No, we can't. Now, I think it's about time that we headed back over to Paul Shipper so he can press the big red button and see what we get for this week's randomiser.
Okay.
Over to you, Paul.
All right, all the best this week. Here we go.
Last week, Paul gave us the Secret Service.
Yep.
Let's see where we're heading. Oh, through the supermarination stuff and... Oh, now I'm a happy man.
Okay.
And the week that
Well.
Chris is dressed as an eagle.
Yes.
That's right. It's Space
Yes.
1999.
First season, Space 1999.
Okay. Which episode are we watching today,
This
Chris?
is Matter of Life and Death.
Tell us a little bit, for those that aren't familiar with Space 1999, about the series and the premise.
Well, the premise is that there's a base on the moon with some 300 people on it. We were using the base to monitor radioactive waste stored on the dark side of the moon. One day, all of that waste decides, actually, let's get together and have a big explosion, blow the moon
Does
out
the
of
waste
orbit.
decide
The
that?
waste decides that. The waste
don't
does
worry.
what waste wants to do. Yes, indeed. And the moon is blown out of orbit, and now our 300 people on Moonbase Alpha have to fight to survive and somewhere find a new home.
And we're about to watch...
The second episode in production order. I
Right.
think it was shown halfway through the first season's
Okay,
run.
so
it's
early days.
early days. Again, yes.
Great.
Yes.
Jen, you know what I'm going to say now? Specs on.
Popcorn ready. So there it is.
Lovely colour.
What's that?
It's a planet, Richard. Yes.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry.
You get those in space.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes. A new home for our Alphans.
Was that the
Second
blanket you
episode.
produced last year?
This is very much like the blanket.
Commander, we're getting a reading.
So we ended the first episode of the series where we're going off into space, but we've got signals from the distant planet Meta. Maybe there, Koenig says at the end of the episode, we'll find something on planet Meta.
Right.
We'll forget all of that.
Oh, I see.
This is not that planet.
Oh,
This
okay.
is a different planet entirely.
All right.
But we'll investigate that as well.
So we better get entirely ejected, basically, for the rest
Yes.
of the show.
Yeah.
I see, it's such a strange thing.
Yeah.
It's the mystery of that planet. felt
Although there's that
exciting.
lovely message from Moonbase Alpha that Xenia Merton shot that ties back into the Meta probe signal, which I thought was done very, very cleverly.
Ex-podcast guest sitting next to Martin Landau.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd point that
There are
out.
results from onboard computer coming through now.
And an ex-champion about to appear as an Eagle pilot. Well, first episode of Clifton Jones were in as well. He was a replacement for Lon Saturn, playing Uma in the first episode. Also didn't return.
New Earth. Just what we're looking for, isn't it?
No,
How
only the
conve-
second
how
episode.
convenient.
Yes. Gosh, well, that's a quick
Everything's
trip, wasn't
going
it?
swimming.
Looks good.
Do you want to say nothing can go wrong, or shall I do that?
You're not going to believe it, but I think we made it this time.
Commander,
There he
This
is.
time.
Stuart Damon from the Champions.
valleys.
It's just like Earth.
And Shane Rimmer.
Intelligent life?
That's the beauty of it.
Voicing.
Voicing, yes.
It's just waiting there for us.
Everything's fine. And
Oh,
no! Space lightning.
Oh, space lightning.
The worst kind.
Where's it coming from, though?
Oh. Just a minute.
Great mix of horror music.
Yes.
I love how everyone's sort of all panicky, and Victor is just sort of.
This is interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Contact lost, Commander.
No.
Vital life signs.
Not ready.
Great set as well, isn't it?
Yes.
So spacious.
Are you receiving me? Eagle 1, come in, please. Commander? Flight pattern shows Eagle 1 on course and closing.
Oh, so they're coming back.
What?
Something's bringing them home.
Oh.
Yes.
Touchdown procedure. All systems are yellow alert.
And that's something you get a few times in this episode. Really nerve-jangling alarm sounds that they kind of settle down through the series, but yeah.
And here we go. I'm sorry. It's the best opening title sequence and music ever.
Is that your
Ever. Not
Yeah.
just Anderson ever.
No,
but
ever.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so epic.
Gosh.
All right.
Yeah, this is great.
And most of the shots here are offcuts, alternate takes that never
Okay.
actually appear in the finished episode.
I see. So these are all from this episode, yes.
They're all from this episode, yeah, but
not
also not actually seen in this episode for the most part, yes. And before Barry Morse gets an on-screen appearance there. Yeah, it's so of its time and yet so timeless.
Oh, absolutely
the funk
right.
and the grand classical stuff. And the way those explosions are timed precisely with the music.
Yeah.
It's
beautifully cut.
Yeah.
And I quite like that this episode and then and this is the premise of the series,
Yes.
things within the opening titles.
It's very helpful.
Yeah.
Eagle 1 on final approach.
Now they're all suddenly very relaxed about it.
Still on automatic.
Yeah, they've had the music to sort of chill, decompress a bit. Yeah.
Oh, it's upgraded the alert.
Yes. And a very minor point of note in this episode, there is an alternate version available with a different type font for the written by guest starring captions. Yes.
Okay.
Very interesting, though. Wasn't it?
You say that.
I know. I wouldn't call it a fab fact. I would call it a
fact.
Fact. Just fact. Yes.
The travel tubes are very cool.
Yes, now how were they shot? I'm guessing we're looking down on something there. Wouldn't that be the easy way to shoot it?
Being raised from below.
Suppose, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anything on how that was shot.
There you go.
So everyone's taking their time to get to the possibly dead pilots.
I'm not really taking any precautions.
No, exactly. Let's just walk on in and have a look, shall we?
Well, yeah.
Hello?
They're alive.
Oh, I thought she died for a moment. It's not me, is it? I thought it was your line.
She's not bringing out any like medical scanner or something. It's just touch them, feel them, check the eye.
They feel quite warm.
And there's another guy. There's a passenger in the passenger chair where a passenger shouldn't be. And who is this? Oh.
Who is that?
Well.
Oh. My God. Right, come on.
It's my husband.
What?
It's her husband?
Wow.
Yeah. Played by Richard Johnson.
Gosh.
Yes.
Oh, do we get a bit of backstory then?
Oh, yes.
Good.
But that's Stuart Damon in bed for the rest of the episode.
That's my kind of job.
I think there was a scene later on filmed where he recovered and they asked him what happened, but that's cut, so he just spends the rest of the episode in bed. Nobody really cares about him anyway because we've got
yes.
Oh, this guy's
Eleanor's hubby.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're absolutely certain it's him.
Right. Oh, actually, now you mention it.
Yeah. The hairline's a bit different.
Yeah. Maybe it isn't my husband.
It doesn't make any sense, but John, I know my own husband.
He's been dead 5 years.
Oh.
Right.
Yes, he's been presumed dead.
There's another podcast guest.
We'll be in Dr. Russell's quarters. If there's any change in their condition, let us know immediately. Yes, Commander.
Ah, amazing. Wonder what Anton Phillips.
Oh, he's dead already.
It's not looking very lively, is it? On those monitors.
Oh.
I know what you're looking at.
The dog?
Yeah.
I was.
And here we get our first glimpse of Earth's long string of failed space missions.
Right.
All throughout the series, any mission that was sent off into space,
Yes.
something went wrong, the crew was lost, everyone died.
It's cheery, isn't it?
Yes. But it's kind of in fitting with the sort of doom-laden tone of the show. Every time we try to go out to space,
Ship burned up.
it all goes to custard.
Yeah. Goes to custard.
Yes.
That's a great phrase.
Space custard.
Helena, we're billions of miles from Jupiter.
John, we may be billions of miles from Jupiter, but Lee is here.
Billions of miles from Jupiter. So in the space of 1 week.
Yeah.
In the second
Well,
episode,
they're
they've already
kind of-
travelled billions of miles.
Since we broke away from our solar system,
Many things have happened.
unexplainable things.
Off-screen things.
Unexplainable things.
Things that kind of give us the leeway to place this later in the run if we want to. Yeah.
Something strange, Doctor.
Could you come to the care unit straight away?
But that's another bit of early episode weirdness. They call it the care unit throughout this episode rather than medical centre.
I like how they've all got their own little printed labels.
Yeah.
Bit of a nightmare.
Perfectly, but it's still not recording as vital signs.
Yeah. First thing you do when you get a patient into medical centre, put their name on, make sure they're in the right pyjamas.
Yeah.
Normal.
Why are the instruments recording?
I don't know.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
And quickly.
Nobody does anything in this episode quickly.
Yeah.
Barbara Baines' hair is also completely immovable.
I think it had a separate trailer, didn't it? Of its
It's
own
amazing.
in the lot.
What does the computer have on Russell?
He checks out. It's him, all right, Commander.
The photos match, that's basically it. Yeah.
We have on Russell comes from his wife's file. Now, that's too limited.
Analysis of the
I
data.
get the feeling as well, Barry Morse is like, this is a boring scene. I need a prop. I've got to have some business to do.
To the probe pilot to set phase 2 behind schedule. Paul?
How much time do we have for phase 2?
20 hours.
And phase 3?
A total evacuation of Moonbase Alpha will take 48 hours.
Phase 4?
Oh, that involves ants.
Connell?
Get a move on!
I'm glad it's not me. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say I'm not a huge fan of this one. It does really take its time.
We postpone phase 2 by 10 hours. That should give us enough time to check.
Yeah, 10 more hours.
Great.
Waiting.
Sitting around.
Waiting. Yeah.
Sir. Captain, I'm not going to jump the gun on this.
Obviously.
No.
I'm not going to endanger the lives of any more pilots until I know what happened to that ship.
But sir, I'm volunteering. You always risk my life. I don't mind.
Until we know what's going on.
We're not going to do anything.
No. I mean, you can kind of understand it being the second episode. They are approaching this as if it's the first time we've done all this stuff.
Sure.
So it kind of makes sense to take more time, but it could be a bit pacier.
Lee? Lee, can you hear me?
You. Helena.
Oh, he remembers her.
What is this place?
Lee, you're in a hospital room.
You're in Pinewood Studios, L&M block.
You've been here before.
I came to...
Yeah, Richard Johnson would have been quite a fairly big name
Really?
this time.
Yeah.
Because...
Yes.
No, come
Spit
on.
it out, man.
Yeah, there are shots in this episode where you think, is this actually a freeze frame or are they actually doing something? And I feel bad responding like that to an episode of my favourite Anderson show, but it's all right. It's very leisurely.
You can be critical of these things. That's absolutely fine.
Victor, what do you think of it?
I don't know. But I'll have a guess.
There's no slide on that within microscope, is there?
Oh, no.
He's just trying to stare into the light to make the time pass. Just do something.
Looking like he's busy.
Perhaps some aspect of that.
Is that Aurak sitting on the table?
I was
next to
just
him?
thinking that, and I thought, no, that might be a bit a geeky reference too far. I'm glad to see I was wrong. Yeah, it's very alright. Yeah,
Victor, that's all well and good, but
he would be so helpful to them.
he had questions. I mean, how did he get onto that Eagle?
Yeah, this is our first glimpse into Victor's quarters, and they reappear in other episodes. I love how he's just got so much bric-a-brac around the
Yeah,
place.
it fits his kind of character though.
Yeah.
He's a man fascinated by everything.
Yes.
So everything is there.
Planet.
You want me to bring him out of it with Metrazine?
I must talk to him.
John, there are things about his condition that we don't understand. Can it wait?
You know how last week we thought the Secret Service episode we watched could have been improved by some judicious cutting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every hour that passes lessens our chance of finding a decent home. There were 300 lives, Helena. Can you or I deny them that?
The freeze frame shot again there.
Yeah, there are some criticisms made against the series, and you think, actually, that's a bit harsh. And then you see episodes like this, and actually, this must have been the kind of episode that people making those criticisms think the show is like every week.
Yeah, and if this was the second episode shown, it might well put you off watching again next week.
I've got to speak to you.
And I don't know if there was ever any plan to continue from the end of the first episode with the whole meta thing, or if that was the beginnings of this, the Terra Nova planet here.
Must speak to Helena.
It's important to all of us. How did you get on that planet?
I'm here too.
What's there? Think. Try to remember.
Lots of dramatic whispering.
Yeah.
Helena.
I'm transfixed by Barry Morse's eyebrows, just twitching gently.
Well, yeah, even when he's not doing anything, he's still so
doing
watchable.
something.
Yeah.
I also, it looks like he's considering his choices here.
Yes.
It hasn't worked.
I must call my agent when I get off.
Yeah, I'm not doing another series.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, John. He's got to rest.
I also love how Koenig is like, Helena, your husband, we've got to talk to him, There's two of his own guys in the beds on the other side of the room. I don't care about them.
Yeah.
They're out of the picture.
Yeah.
Helena.
This place. Helena, tell me.
Tell you what?
This place. Where is it?
We're on Moonbase Alpha, Lee. There was an accident. The moon was blown out of Earth orbit.
Just last week, you should have watched it.
Did you not see the opening titles?
We think we found what we want. A new world.
On the second episode.
Yeah.
Your planet. We're going to colonize it. We could be together.
Whoa, that's not going down well.
No!
Oh, space landing.
Oh, off the trampoline.
Oh, that was a great trampoline.
Yes. It's like nothing's happened for 15 minutes and then boom, trampoline.
Yeah.
Wow.
I sort of want to replay that and put a boing sound effect on. And none the wiser, they can't detect electrical disturbances in their own moon base.
That's right.
Carlo, what's the latest time prediction on Phase 2?
Hasn't changed, Commander. We've peaked your optimum takeoff time. There's just 2 hours before we have to abandon.
Yeah, I don't know if Clifton Jones was in the running to be cast in the first episode.
Must have been mistaken.
But he's an instant fit for the series going forward.
Yeah.
There's far more to like there than there was with Lon Saturn playing Uma in the first episode.
Oh, Commander, we are going down, aren't we?
What's going to stop us?
Everything's fine.
No, what could go wrong? It's kind of lovely actually seeing those little interactions where they're all kind of real people.
Yes.
Which more so than you'd see in other things where you've kind of got operatives.
Yeah.
Dr. Russell's quarters, please.
Yes.
I'm totally unbothered. She's had a terrible trampolining accident.
I found her on the floor of the care unit.
By the trampoline.
Is that near a medical centre?
Checked her over. There's no damage.
Thank you, Doctor.
Oh. Why did you call me then?
Yeah.
I must have passed out.
This has just occurred to me, but mentioning the pyjamas, who helped her into the pyjamas?
Anton Phillips.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Well, rules is rules. They've got to be in their pyjamas.
Yeah. Can't stay in the care unit
Not
without
the
your
care
pyjamas.
unit, no.
He talked?
Yes, a little.
Though they do look really comfy, these elfin pyjamas.
Yeah.
Before I fainted.
Upcoming release for the Gerry
Yes,
Anderson store for the 50th
absolutely.
anniversary.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, me too.
Remember? No, John, I'm sure he didn't. I would have remembered that.
There's a huge amount of looking eye to eye, left and right, up and down thinking in all of this.
Yeah.
Is that a direction thing or an acting of the time? Or
I think they're trying to settle into a style, aren't they? They're trying to find the style of the series. And unfortunately, the style of the series is settling into something a little ponderous.
Yeah.
Just a little tired, that's all.
That's a personal space thing there.
We are going down there, aren't we?
Do you not think?
Yeah.
He's a little bit close to her. I mean,
it does betray the fact that they were married in real life.
Yes. He's a mouth trumpet away.
I did it, P. Russell.
Oh, I see, that's a relief.
Passed to Helena for analysis, but Matthias was worried that they might upset her.
You wouldn't want to provoke any emotion in Helena.
Respond to body heat. There you are.
Yeah.
Lee Russell. And from this, he seems to be perfectly normal. You can see the areas of body heat, brain.
Yeah. Yeah. Nose.
The cold areas, yellows, all just as it should be. Oh, that hand at the bottom of the picture, that's Helena's.
Right, thanks.
But now,
Proves she's not a mystery.
Did she leave it behind when she left?
Oh. What's this?
Oh, he's turned into an axon.
I don't get it, Victor.
Space custard.
Yes, space custard.
no, there's nothing there. No body heat. No reds at all, just yellow. And yet, when this scan was taken, he was breathing. His heart was beating. And now, look at this.
But wouldn't he feel cold to the touch then?
Well, that's when he's on his own.
Eh?
Oh, I see.
Normal again.
Ah, right, I'm with you now.
Dead or alive?
One of these things is not like the other.
According to that picture, he's alive. And that one says he's dead.
And then that one says he's
Schrodinger's
alive.
Russell.
Yeah.
Of course, as I said, this may simply be a symptom of his having learned to adapt to living on that planet.
I don't go for that, Victor. He was on that planet 5 years. It takes billions of years for a human being to adapt that radically.
Billions of years?
Oh, for evolution. Well, one human. We got that long to work with.
But we're a long way from home. And we're going to have to start thinking differently if we're going to come to terms with space.
I love that wink thing that Barrymore's does when he's talking.
Yeah.
It's very endearing.
He really makes the whole of Space 1999 for me.
Yeah.
There's just something so smart and reassuring and avuncular and philosophical about him.
Yeah.
Well, everyone else is giving rather sort of cold, sterile performances, aren't they? And he's the warmth, I suppose.
Very strange, isn't it? Whatever life force sustains him, he's drawing it from some outside source.
Right.
Oh.
Interesting. I fancy a bit of outside source, actually.
Ooh. So they've given up turning on the monitor for him at all. So,
Yeah, what's the point?
yeah.
Oh, some kind of psychic link?
Oh. Removable hair still.
How to focus sparkly things. Those look like fibre optic
They do.
strands.
Wiggle, wiggle. Very unusual.
Don't understand what's going on.
Is there some sort of link? We
Yeah,
psychic
some kind of
link,
link,
like
yeah.
face touching.
Yeah.
Oh.
Someone stole my wedding ring.
Oh, it's very
Slow?
yeah,
Yeah.
thoughtfully paced.
Yeah.
It does make the set look very big.
Yeah.
Do you think the director went, right, cut. Okay, can we just do one more, but let's just make it really slow?
Darlings, you're rushing it. Come on.
Yeah. This episode's underrunning. Got to find 20 minutes somewhere.
Oh.
Oh, I love the little plastic tweezers on the tray there.
Mr. Russell,
All the medical stuff.
you should be in bed.
Uh-oh.
Look out.
Can't have you up and about causing plot development.
Yes.
There's Stuart Damon earning his paycheck in the background.
Ouch.
Oh no. Disco alert.
Be rested.
Is that his ringtone?
Well, Dr. Matthias gets beaten up so often in this show, he must have his own special emergency signal.
I do like Barry Gray's use of opening theme stuff, but in an altered way to show us some drama or some relaxation.
Yeah. Although I don't know if that might have been Vic Elms, possibly. A little disco riff from him there, maybe.
It's time we talked.
I should say so.
Yeah.
20 minutes.
My office.
And here we have our two regular security guards for the first season. Tony Allen and Quentin Pierre.
Ah.
Yes.
With their purple sleeves.
Yeah.
Helena, stay away from me.
But why?
Stay away.
Oh,
Right.
Right.
What happened to his old lightning trick? He just didn't deploy that.
Oh, without the trampoline.
Yes. Oh. Interrogation suite?
No, this is Koenig's office.
Oh, just with the red lighting for drama.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I don't think you ever see it lit this way again. It's quite effective.
Yeah.
But it also makes you wonder why he's got that setting in his office.
Yeah.
I've got lights on, lights off, hell red.
Where'd you come from, Mr. Russell? Planet.
How did you get there?
They're doing a bit of good cop, bad cop.
How? Commander, I don't know how I got there. How long I've been there.
How did you board our ship?
Please, you're wasting time. And help us, Mr. Russell. Tell us what you know. I know
nothing.
You're in danger.
Oh. That's good.
From what?
Is the planet inhabited? No.
No.
Yes.
Oh. What?
Not in the way you think.
I want to come back to that in the second half, that line. But again, a lot of the problems in the second half could be solved so easily if you just said, right, here's the deal. If you go, this, and this will happen, so just don't go. But
he not go down there.
He just keeps reiterating, can't go. I won't tell you why.
Beyond your understanding, it will destroy you.
What is this power, this danger?
Your opposite.
What? Your opposite? Antimatter?
Season 2?
The secret
There's
service.
an Italian with a beer brewing still.
For human life.
Woman who turns into tigers.
I feel like we could have gone straight from his recovery to him zapping Helena to this.
Yeah,
that's
right. Nothing else has happened really in those in-between bits.
Yeah.
Do you? What can we believe?
And the spaces between each word. Yes.
But are you?
It does look great and intense, but I'm not sure that's making up for these big long pauses.
Oh God, say something.
You
Yes.
go
Right.
to that planet.
Yes. What?
Whatever I say. Isn't that so?
What?
So
You'll go down and whatever I
say.
say.
So why did I even bother getting out of bed? It is a bit of a waste of a really good guest star, potentially, on a kind of nothing character. And... Oh, I just need to sit down. This is taking a lot out of me. I said 3 complete sentences.
Guys.
It's okay, so he's acting.
He's dead.
What?
Oh.
He's dead?
Oh.
Or is he?
Keeping his head remarkably still.
Well.
Right.
Oh, so they continued? Really?
That's to be continued? More of that?
I'm afraid so.
More
Yes.
of the same?
Come back for more of the same next week. How will they get out of that situation?
Are they even in a situation?
Yeah, what situation?
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a planet.
Yeah.
The guy who said don't go has died.
I
think I was a bit premature.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. There's, I mean, that for me was a disappointment. I love Space in 1999. I remember watching it as a child, and for me it was exciting. It was all about the future. It looked like the future. It was strange and weird. That was just slow and not very exciting.
I mean, you do need with shows to give them a period to sort of run in and get used to things, particularly with a show as traumatic as the early shooting weeks were on that, where it was overrunning dramatically. But even so, it's never been a favourite of mine.
Oh,
and I hate saying that.
Yeah.
I really do.
No, it always feels harsh criticising any of the shows.
Yeah.
But Everyone's welcome to do it, including us.
Yes, criticise us.
Yeah, please feel free.
That's right.
We'll get comments about the podcast
Oh,
being
yeah.
slow and ponderous,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so much exposition and pointless. And why did they even bother getting that guest star Richard James in when they don't even do anything with
Am
it?
I a guest star?
Well, technically you were.
Podsterons, what do you think so far of Matter of Life and Death Space 1999?
So I thought what you were thinking there when he said, "What do you think of it so far?"
Rubbish!
I looked at Virgil as if we could do something with that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you might have other thoughts, Podsterons.
Yeah.
This might have been the episode that sold Space 1999 to you.
It sold Victor Bergman to me.
Sure.
Yes. But I know there are some fans who look at this episode and some of the others similarly oddly pitched early ones, and that's actually their idea of the purest form of 1999.
Which is fine. But if you disagree with us, we'd love to hear from you. Podcast at gerryanderson.com.
Yes.
And we'll disagree with you in turn in a future podcast.
But please say more than one word at a time rather than
just please
Helena.
don't.
Join us next week for the second part of Matter of Life and Death in Space 1999. Let's see if things improve.
Yes, I'm sure they will. Things can only get
Yes.
better.
Fingers crossed.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's get started.
Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
Well, what a delicious bowl of space custard that was.
Space custard. Would either of you, based on the evidence that he presented there, would either of you have listened to Lee Russell? He's put his argument towards you, and now he's dead.
Yes, probably. I probably would listen. It's all a bit strange. I would be cautious, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
See, I don't feel he stated his case all that well.
No. Well, he's dead.
Well, he's dead, but he had
He had
plenty
the
of
whole
time.
run up to do it, though,
Yeah.
didn't he? Could have told his wife, could have talked to anything, could have written a message,
down,
could have done it in interpretive dance or something, but...
Interpretive dance.
Yeah.
Space Custard, the musical.
Yes.
Brilliant.
I'd book tickets.
We're rebooting these things week on week.
That could be the second night of the Under Cruise.
Brilliant.
Space Custard. Yeah.
Okay, look forward to it.
And on that note,
bye.
Bye.
That was an Anderson Entertainment production.